Shalom again, everybody. Ariel Tzadok here from the KosherTorah School, found online at www.KosherTorah.com, bringing to you today's daily lesson in the Sefer Yetzirah. Today is lesson 69, dedicated, of course, to the safety, health, well-being, prosperity, and pursuit of wisdom. Let's add that now. To everybody around the world facing the trials and tribulations that we are, again, remember, every obstacle, obstacle. So what happens when you try to say opportunity and obstacle at the same time? It doesn't come out right. But you know something. Let me state the statement and then I'll make the point. Every obstacle is a secret opportunity. Now, just now, as you see, I make a little slip of the tongue. Many of my peers would say, cut, edit, not me. You know I will not do that. Why? You know something? I'm only a human being and I make mistakes. Gee whiz, what do you know? And whenever we see purely, fully edited things, especially on the internet today, it's edited. It's kind of like fake. I see all these people, like they'll do tremendous feats. Like, a guy will take a basketball, just wing it behind his head and it lands, right back in the hoop. And you go, wow, that's cool. Yeah, but I mean, do you think that this was not like staged? That he didn't do it like 50 times that he missed? We all see, all the fancy kung fu films of like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, and you don't see the outtakes where they actually mess up. That's real life. Mess up is real life. Now, this is a very, very important point, especially for what we're learning now in this point of the Sefer Yetzirah. Why? Life is about messing up. Let's be blunt. I've never met an individual alive who has never messed up. Even the likes of Moshe Rabbeinu, the great, Moses, pretty much messed up. You remember the whole thing, hitting the rock, and God said, because of that, no going in the land for you. These things happen. It's part of life. Now, you might want to scratch your head and say, gee, I want to be perfect. I don't want to ever make a mistake. I want everything to be 100% and plus. Good for you. You can want whatever you want. Strive for it, though. You might not always get what you want, but at least you have the pride in the accomplishment of striving and for what you get. Or in other words, you might not get 100% fine. Some are going to get 10%, 20, 30, 40. Some will get 99.999. You never know. But unless you make the efforts, you will never accomplish anything. The Sefer Yetzirah in general is to teach us about energetic correlations, the gasoline that needs to be in the tank, the Sefirot Belima, and then the correlate forms of the letters. Now remember, the letters we use as a tool, the technique of letter combinations with vowels and chants. But this is only a tool. You know what a tool is, right? It's something that you use to accomplish a task. It is not something in and of itself. Oh gosh, examples. I'm not going to go reach over here. I have a hammer on my desk. You know what a hammer is, right? Go bang things with. Well, what's the purpose of a hammer? Obviously to look like Thor. No. What is the hammer for? Because by my embracing the hammer and visualizing the hammer and meditating on the meaning of the hammer, things happen. No. You have to take the hammer. I don't give a darn what you're meditating on and what you're focusing on. You see the nails in the wall, you bang the hammer and you get the nails into place. That is formation, asiyah, even action. People don't come to the Sefer Yetzirah and understand it in this way, but you need to. When we talk about creating a golem, actually we should say forming. Remember, the word creation means something from nothing. We're not dealing with a nothing. We're dealing with a pre-existing something which we are now restructuring. That's why this is not magic. Remember what magic is supposedly like something out of nothing? Nonsense. Only, God creates something from nothing. We don't connect with nothing. We just connect with higher levels of something. So we can call that properly and realistically the laws of nature. But the laws of nature are a heck of a lot deeper than we all think that they are. So you can go back and look at how the laws of nature were understood 1,000 years ago, and they've changed. You can go and look at how the laws of nature were looked at 500, 300 years ago, and they have changed. You can look at how the laws of nature were looked at 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 10 years ago, and they have changed. Project outward. The laws of nature aren't changing. Our perception of them are. That's why science is not a creation of natural law. It's an exploration of natural law, which leads us to the discoveries of the truths of natural law, which were created by God in the first place. So, hey, your pursuit of science, whether you're an atheist or not, is the pursuit of God, whether you like it or not. And welcome to the wide world of religion and spirituality. That's what Sefer Yetzirah is all about. How to put these things into practice. Now, in our chapter 4, Mishnah's 6 is really where we're up to right now. I introduced to you the concept, in yesterday's class, of the correlation of planets to the days of the week and how astrological influences actually work. Now remember, it's not so much the physical planet, Mars, Jupiter, but their, if you will, energetic signature. The Earth has an energetic signature. Even Maimonides, the great philosopher, wrote in his Foundations of the Laws of Torah. Now, true, this is based on ancient knowledge of science. Modern science, let me take a step back. This is actually from the Laws of the Foundations of Torah, chapters 3 and 4, which if you go look in the English translations, they have a big long commentary saying this is like ancient stuff and we don't believe in this anymore, so therefore we don't study these chapters anymore. I wag my finger and go, not true. You don't understand them. The ancient understanding of science wasn't necessarily wrong, but you have to understand certain things within a context. All right? The geocentric model, that's when like the Earth is the physical center of the universe, everything rotates around. All right, that's not physically correct. But there is a, if you will, psychological component to the influences of all these things upon us. So when we're learning, obviously we're learning within the context of our humanity, in which how these things apply to us. How do the energetic influences apply to the Pleiadians in the Pleiades? I don't know. I'm not a Pleiadian. Got to go ask them. How is it applied in Ursula Major? How is it applied in Andromeda? Go talk to those who live there. Are there really people who live there? Well, there's something that's up there. God created them like He created us. But we're not focused on them because we're not them. We're us. And here we are, and we got to focus on us. Now, those influences of the planets, Maimonides states that our own planet, good old Earth, is a living, sentient, conscious being. Right? The Earth is alive. A lot of modern science is beginning to see some curious clues about that to validate. Yep, good old Mother Earth. In our Torah tradition, we refer to as the Shekhinah, the Sefirat Malchut. You talk about this all the time. Okay? What is she? Who is she? Well, she's our mama. And everything revolves around our relationship there. So how the planets influence us is in relationship to that. And as our text says here, we also have the 7 days of the week. We went into some of those yesterday and their astrological or planetary influences. So, is there really an influence of Mars and Jupiter and the sun and the moon on the Earth? Well, from an astronomical point of view of cosmic energies as we understand them today, let the cosmologists and the physicists deal with that one. But ask them again in 100 years, when they're more aware of different levels of subtler energy fields. I don't know if they're magnetic fields, maybe fourth dimensional energetic fields. I don't know. All right, whatever science will call them then, they will. But those energy fields exist that we know today. And how do we know? We experience them in our meditative traditions. Now, here's where things get interesting in the point of today's class. We also introduced in Mishnah 7 what's called the 7 gates. The only time we really see the number 7 in our nature is the 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, mouth. 7. 7, 7, 7. All right, 7 days, 7 planets, 7 orifices. And they all correlate with one another. But in the handout for today's class, I give you a little insight from my other course on the prophetic Kabbalah, my other course on the Sefer Yetzirah, I should say, the 40-hour course where I deal with the topic from, again, Abu Lafian, prophetic Kabbalah, and Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. And the correlations between all these things differ significantly. So we have learned already, and Rabbi Hayim Wital, called Morenu Hayim Wital, or Marchu, he says here, you have Shabbat, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday through the days. So Shabbat, I'm just going to give an example here. He states corresponds to the letter Tav, the planet Jupiter, and the mouth. But earlier tradition said the Shabbat corresponds to the letter Bet, the planet Saturn. But they agree on the mouth. Sunday, according to Rabbi Hayim Wital, corresponds to the Bet, and to the moon, and to the right eye. The older tradition, it corresponds to the letter Gimel, the planet Jupiter. But they agree on the right eye. Okay. The order with Rabbi Hayim Wital is that he starts with the mouth, all right, and this is these 7 gates, and goes from right eye, right ear, right nostril, puts all the right side together, and then left eye, left ear, left nostril all together. Whereas the older school goes like this, starts again with the mouth, but puts the right, left ear, and right nostril, the right eye, the left eye together, 2 eyes together, right nostril, left nostril together, right ear, left ear together. So, one system puts the orifices together, Rav Hayim puts right and left together. Well, what's the difference? The difference is very significant, because when we're going to correlate these things energetically, it's kind of like putting building blocks together. You know, think of like Lego, if you're familiar with building blocks, right? Or how about the good old example of putting a square peg in a round hole? Doesn't fit, does it? You can bang it in there, but that's not the way it's meant to be. So here we go. The planets, the stars, the letters, the orifices. How do they properly correlate? In all due respect, what difference does it make? It's only philosophy, right? So if I say ABC and you say ACB, what difference? Well, like I said, if you're building things, trying to put things together like our good old Lego blocks, and you're trying to put the square peg in the round hole and they don't fit, what are you going to be successful in building? Now, why is this important? In all due respect, we're not really, you and I at least, going out building golems every day. And a point that Rabbi Hayim makes in his commentary, we'll get to it in a couple of lessons, right? This is very, very important, because if you try to build a golem and you correlate the wrong energy, all right, everything's going to come in the wrong way. You're going to have arms coming out of the legs, and the legs coming out of the head, and everything's going to be really weird. Can't do that. Well, it's symbolism. Is it really? When you want to structure something in your personal lives and use the foundations of these teachings, whether it's to build your business, your family, your health, then you need to know what leads to what properly. You need to know 1 plus what equals 2. 1 plus what equals 3, etc. And if you don't have the proper, in quote, equations, you know what an equation is like in math, you have that equal sign in the middle, this side's got to balance to that side. And if it doesn't, that's not equal. And you say, well, I'm cool with that. No, you're not. You want to prosper in your life. You want to succeed. I don't care what the area is, whether it's in your health, your finances, your shalom, finding a mit, whatever it is. You got to do things in the right way. And if you don't, you're going to end up messed up. So, remember, like I began this class, I mess up. We all mess up. It's symbolically stating didn't putting, not correctly putting the letters together like I'm doing right now. But that's okay. Why? Because we need to correct. We need to repair. And if we correct, and if we prepare and repair, then we're going to get things right. So this order of difference that I have outlined for you in the paper here, you'll see in the notes there. This is the difference between Hayim Wital and Moshe Cordovero. And there are other versions as well. But here's the big clue. These differences, think about it. What is wrong with these guys? They don't sit down and look at notes and look at the book and they don't compare? Are they crazy? No. The situation is this. If you look at the Sefer Torah, the scroll of Moses, and look at the ones that we have today, and go back on the ones we found in places like Qumran, thousands of years ago, you'll find a 99.9999999% absolute, similarity. They're all the same. Maybe, you'll have one aleph or a hey interchange from one place to the next. There's something like that. You can go look it up in scholarly stuff. But if you look at all the other works that have been passed down since ancient times, they're pretty much redacted, pretty much the same. Even whether it's versions of the Mishnah or the Gemara or Midrashim, old books, right? They're pretty much the same. Even if you have a different version from one to the other, the differences in them would only be maybe grammatical or technical. But here in the Sefer Yetzirah, you got totally different teachings, totally different correlations, which have very vital significance. How is that possible? With all due respect, Rabbi Hayim Wital was a student of Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. They prayed in the same synagogue. All right? Obviously, they knew one another. How is it that they could have such varying views of the same thing? You don't think that, well, let's take a step back. Where did Rabbi Hayim Wital get his book from? No, he didn't order it online, okay? He didn't pick it up at the bookstore. These things in those days was still handwritten, by the scribes. So where did his scribal version come from? And Moshe Cordovero's and the other guys' scribal versions come from? And how do they get to be so different? At least that is the right question. And the answer to it is this. This is a big secret. Now, pay attention. We still have secrets in the Kabbalah to this day. You can go online and go to, the Jewish bookstores online. I have links to them on our links page, KosherTorah.com. And go into the Kabbalah section. You'll see 1,000 books of Kabbalah available today. I remember in my day, way back when in the early 80s, trying to get books of Kabbalah that were available, maybe a dozen. And that was in Hebrew. And that was in Jerusalem, right? Not many. Today, explode out. But with all the proliferation of these books, there's still a limited amount of knowledge. You see, there was no difference. There's just matters of perception. Rabbi Hayim comes and sees things from his perception, and Rabbi Moshe Cordovero from his, and they explore, and they experiment. And which is the right one? Only you will discover that when you put it into practice and see for yourselves. Kabbalists allow this type of discrepancy, yes, to conceal things that need to be concealed, but at the same time to teach you the vital lesson of correlative subjective perceptions, which is the only true way to be able to perceive the objective universe that God has created. We'll pick up more on this in our next class and move on into the correlations. Ariel Tzadok here, Kosher Torah School, KosherTorah.com. I'll see you all next time. Shalom.